Yes, it reminds us that coronavirus isn't the only reason that it's safer to Zoom sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'd like to call the Isabella County Human Resources Public Meeting. Call to the public. Is there any public?
There is not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
First item will be consider accepting and placing on file the 2021 Isabella County Planning Commission Annual Report. We have in the report.
Yeah, good morning. I'm going to walk through the annual report like I do on an annual basis. Planning Commission is required to do this. You'll see in section 1 of the document that you should have, table of contents is introduction. In that introduction, it talks and discusses the enabling acts, which requires under section 19 of the Michigan Planning Enabling Act, the Planning Commission to provide an annual report to the County Board of Commissioners. This is that report. Section 2 of the document discusses membership. It talks and lists the members of the Planning Commission, which have been appointed by the County Board. Section 3 of the document is discusses our meetings, how we held them. Last year, we held them all electronically via Zoom due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We did only hold 7 of our 12 regularly scheduled meetings. We did have kind of a slow year last year with regard to action by the Planning Commission. Section 4 of the document is kind of the Planning Commission's responsibilities, sort of their duties and responsibilities throughout, performing site plan reviews and conducting public hearings for special use permits and those types of things. Section 5 is sort of the meat and potatoes of what they did throughout the year. So section 5.1, master land use plan. The master land use plan is required by statute to be reviewed every 5 years. Planning Commission has staff basically do a review on an annual basis. We're constantly looking at that document, constantly making sure that it's in line with its goals and procedures throughout. So we do review it on an annual basis. We do have it slated this year to try to begin the process of getting through it as some of the census data from 2020 is out. We are learning that not all that data is out, but I don't know that there's a whole lot of vital information that we would be missing that we wouldn't be able to get an update done either late this year or into early next year. On the top of page 5, you see a kind of a graphic there. We have graphics for each one of our called out sections, site plan reviews. This is a little anomaly for us. We did a total of 15 site plan reviews in the year. 12 of those were done administratively, meaning they didn't meet a threshold to need to go to the Planning Commission for review, which is good for the citizens. Kind of expedites the process. We can handle that within a couple days in the office versus having to wait, on a monthly basis to go to the Planning Commission. Only 3 of them were held by the planning or done by the Planning Commission. So it tells us kind of more of our projects throughout the year last year were additions, add-ons to existing, not a whole lot of new. Not that we do a whole ton of new in the out county areas, but wasn't a lot of new commercial type businesses or rural residential type businesses happening. There's a total of 15 in the year. 3 of them were handled by the Planning Commission, as I said, and 12 of them were handled by staff. Under special land use permits, kind of goes along with the same premise as the site plans. There was only 1 last year. I think you can see in the table there for special land use permits that were usually up around the 7-8 range, and we did only hold 1 of those last year. Zoning amendments. We did have 1 zoning amendment. It was for a retail business out in the Wademan area. and that was a map amendment. We rezoned a piece of property, I believe, from residential to commercial, which met the master plan criteria. And the Planning Commission just last month held a site plan review to make an approval on a retail business out there. Section 5.5 is review of township zoning amendments. We had 2 of those last year. Union Township, both of them were from Union Township. One of them was a map amendment, one was a text amendment. As you can see there by the graphic, we did 2 previous 3 years. We only did 4. There's not a whole lot of that type of activity that goes on within the townships. And it's typically Union Township who's maneuvering and moving with holding the most population. They have the most change seen. Master plan reviews, we did receive a notice of intent from Wise Township in May of 2021, which means we'll see their master plan come through for review. Farmland agreements, we had 7 farmland agreements in 6 different townships for a total of 367 acres. It's a little bit up from 2020. However, farmland agreements just kind of come and go. We've had years where there's been 2,000-3,000 of them, 40 applications. It just depends on when the agreements with the state expire. Some of them take them on for 10 years, others take them on for the full 99 years. Additional activities in 2021, Planning Commission updated their bylaws. And they did select Ken Kaliski of RSG as the post-construction sound study consultant as required by ordinance. It was their job to make that selection, and they did do that last year. Zoning permit activity. Our zoning permits are standardized. You want to put a garage up, you want to put an addition on your home. Those permits were actually up about 8-10% over 2020. So we did have consistent activity going on from a standard zoning permit standpoint. We did have roughly around every year we have roughly around 100 complaints. It's really hard to count exactly how many complaint activities we do because every case is a little different. Each one takes 4 or 5 calls. Some of them get into attorney actions and they stretch out a little farther. So when we talk about 100 complaints, we're talking about total activities that were done with regard to complaints. And the Zoning Board of Appeals had 4 applications for 4 different variances, which was down from the previous year of around 10. 4 is quite low for variance activity. We're usually up around that 8-10 range. Again, I think some of that just had to do with the pandemic and people not moving forward with variances. Training, we did no outside training from 2021 due to the pandemic. And Section 9, Planning Commission goals. They established a goal to maintain the county master plan, which is part of that update we're going to do with the 2020 census. A couple of other fine areas that we're going to fine tune within the document as well. Going to continue to review the zoning ordinance and make recommendations to the county board as they come through. And we'll maintain the open line of communications with the township, which was a goal back in our 2007 master plan update. I think it was a ranked highest survey ranking of all of our goals was to maintain the open lines of communication. At that time, we opened an agenda item on our planning commission, and we do continue to have that as well. We provide townships copies of agendas, minutes, those types of things. So we haven't heard from any of the townships that that's not working for them. So we're going to continue on with that process as one of our top goals. And that's all I have for the document. If any of you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I got a few questions, Tim. One, how many townships do their own zoning?
6 of them do their own zoning.
And then, did you say the post-construction sound study was completed or in process?
It's actually in process. I actually have a meeting this afternoon, kind of a kickoff meeting, as I believe they're going to be in the field in about 60 days.
Oh, okay. So we don't know any results.
No, we do not know the results. What I was referring to there was just the planning commission had to select the company to do it, and that's what they did this past year.
Okay.
Yeah, this afternoon, we're meeting DTE. We're meeting with DTE and Ken Kaliski and our in-house consultant from Spicer to kind of go over and establish the whens, the wheres, make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, okay. And then 5.7, the farmland agreements, I think there's a typo there in that last sentence. It talks about commission reviewed 34 applications, but then you've got 4 in parentheses.
Oh, yep, it should be 34 there. Yep, thank you.
And then you talked about in 5.0 a change to the map. Is that the zoning change you were talking about in Wademan, or?
Yeah, it was. Yep. At 5.0, I just kind of give a quick brief summary, and then I jump into them separated categories. But yes, the change to the map was the one in Wademan for the commercial retail business.
Okay. And then the increase of applications reviewed by staff, that I think you answered that question because they were mostly simpler additions and things rather than new construction.
Correct. Some of it is new construction. Some of it is new construction. Some of it is new homes and things. The things that go to the Planning Commission are typically new commercial or industrial activities. All other new or additions to residential type are handled by staff. When we get into, and I talked about the site plans where staff does some and the Planning Commission does some, back in about 2008, I introduced an amendment to the ordinance, which was approved by the county board to kind of expedite the process. We were having commercial or industrial businesses that wanted to put on relatively smaller, like 5,000 square foot additions to their commercial or industrial. And they were having to go back to the Planning Commission, and it just didn't really make a lot of sense for holding them up. And so we wrote some language that allowed staff to handle those activities that met a certain threshold. And so we were handling those. So when it comes to the standardized permits, there is new there. It's just new on the residential side typically.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. I always kind of actually look forward to this report. I like to see what's going on.
Yeah. And numbers wise, it looks like it looks a little odd compared to some of the other numbers from previous years. But I can tell you, we're still busy, even on the construction side from inspections. We're still busy. We're seeing a lot of activity. And I think as I keep my fingers crossed that the interest rates don't get too high, as they go up, I think that's where we're going to see some of that, some of our numbers kind of slowing down. But we did not slow down in the past couple of years, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Any comments or questions or concerns? No. Okay, if that's the case. Public. Oh, right, sorry.
I'd make a motion to consider accepting and placing on file the 2021 Isabel County Planning Commission
Support. Then moved and supported to move item 3, the Isabella County Planning Commission annual report to the regular session of the County Commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. And we'll, okay, now.
There is no public at this time.
Okay. And now I will adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tim.
you think